Good afternoon, everyone. Jason here. Today is October 24th, and this is your aftermarket update. All right, we had a fantastic day here at the Oil Trading Group. In fact, we've had a fantastic month of trading here so far. All of this increased volatility has really added an additional dynamic to our trading that has allowed us to get some really massive targets. Today was a very good example of that. We made an adjustment here yesterday that we carried over into today, and I'll tell you about that adjustment here in a moment. But this increased volatility is allowing for some massive moves. We had a 20-point, that is an 80-tick ES move today, and you could tell by the price ladder up there in the top left-hand corner. You could see the ES E-mini price ladder there with what our finishing tally was on the day. We had two trades. We got in at the same place the first time the trade came down, came in, took us out of break-even +1. Then the second trade ended up with a 20-point ES move. Now, one of the adjustments that we made, we talked about this in yesterday's trading video, we reduced the amount of risk. So normally in here we trade two lots. Recently we've been trading two lots. What we talked about yesterday is with this increased amount of volatility that we needed to really be careful with the amount of lots that we're trading, because again, these bars on the ES have been, well, in some cases they've been as wide as 7 points. If you look here, just as we were heading into the low today, that's 26.52 quarter, and the top of that bar is 64.75. So that's a 12.5 point bar. It looks just like a normal trading bar would look, right? But the bars are so long right now. The volatility is such that the bars are incredibly long. And so one of the adjustments that we've made is we have reduced the lot size on our trades from two lot to one lot. So if you have, for example, you have a 2-point stop on two lots, that is a $200 stop. By bringing that down to one lot, you can have as much as a 4-point stop and have the same amount of risk. That allows you to be able to adjust for all of this increased volatility, and that's what we've been doing here. So again, we are on one lots today here and holding on for these bigger opportunities. In the video that I'm going to show you of this 20-point ES move, you're going to see a little arrow pop up about right towards the beginning of that trade. And we got to within 1 tick of taking out our stop, and then we got to within 2 ticks of taking out our stop. Now I'll show you where the stop was and why it was placed where it was. And we'll talk a little bit about that here when we start to analyze this trade here on the CL, or the ES rather. But just suffice it to say that all this increased volatility does provide additional opportunity, but it does provide additional risk, and you just have to manage yourself accordingly. All right, let's talk about what we did here on the ES today. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the profile chart over in front of you. And so we are, as you know, support and resistance traders. We find decision points on our chart, areas to look to make decisions. And we look at the profile as a way to organize market structure as we go about the process of determining how it is we where and why we want to get into the market. So when the market opened up this morning, it looked about like this. The profile looked about like this, right? And so as what you can see here is there really is a P-shaped, and it was more pronounced this morning as we were getting into our morning trade. The market spent the majority of the time in the overnight session below settlement up here at 27.46 quarter. And so what you are looking for when that occurs is for the market to come up into settlement at some point during the session. Now, right before the open today, the market did come up into settlement, pushed up a little bit higher, and then began that process of pushing back down. And that's going to be important here in just a moment when I show you and tell you why it is we got in where we got in. So P-shaped profiles are historically or traditionally known as short covering rallies. Market could not push up through the high. We got into settlement right around the open today, and then the market began to sell off down through the open and then through that point of control at 27.42. And that was really our cue to look to try and start the process of looking to get short. Our market maker levels formed up here right around, these DS levels, which are our RTH, or regular trading hours levels. Market opens up here or reaches out rather into just above settlement today. And once the market opens up, these structure points begin to form, right? They form and then they are valid throughout the day. So as we were here, as the market was opening, one of the things that we talked about is the market had achieved that area at settlement. It had gotten through settlement into the open, and then we had gotten down through that point of control, which was at 27.42. So just to refresh your memory here, 27.42 here was that day's point of control on your profile. So you had this P-shaped selling formation. Market had done one of the things that we like to see it do, which is rally up into settlement. Once you spend the majority of the time below in the overnight session, we did get up there and take out settlement. And then really that was our idea to look to begin to get short. Now, your structure mid here today was at 27.34 half. And what I like to do is draw about a 5-point box, 2.5 points on each side of that level. That kind of gives you the slippage area or the area around that level that you can understand that the market is going to be reacting in and around that zone. So as the market comes down, we were looking for it to come down into about 32, rally back up into this structure mid, and then we were looking for it to sell off. So as you kind of go through here, you see the market beginning that process. Then we get that big heavy bar down. We do take out that level and rally back into the structure mid. Now, we get in short. Market begins to rotate around, comes back, comes right back up, and this is where I get almost stopped out to the tick, right? So the top of the box, right? Remember I told you to just remember my stop was at 37.25, 3 points from the 34.25 entry. We come right back up here, and again, we know that that box is about 2.5 points wide on the ES. We had our stop one tick above. And then, of course, the market began the process of moving down. Now, what you're going to hear me say in the video is that I'm looking for this structure signal as the target, but depending on the speed with which it's moving, we would be looking to come down here to this 27.0975. And on the video, you're going to hear me say, or as deep as 27.10. Now, market comes down here to the structure signal, begins to kind of rotate around. And one thing that I want you to notice as well, this trade started at about 9 a.m. this morning, started at about 9 a.m. And at this point, we've already been in the trade for about an hour. Again, we are on one lot. The market is beginning to rotate around, comes all the way down here to 13.75. And it was about in this area that I decided that I'm going to just take an even 20 points on the trade. And you're going to see me get trail stopped out back up here on a slight pullback into this area here. We take out that target, and then we ultimately come down to our daily structure target. So again, 20 ES points on one lot, really handsome type trade. The logic was there for us. We used the profile to kind of organize our thoughts and the structure. And then we have, of course, our market maker levels, which provided us with the opportunity to get in. Now, the market continued down today, and again, we could have held on. We could have maybe held on for the deeper move, but of course, they don't tell you that that's going to happen beforehand, do they? They don't tell you that, hey, there's going to be a much bigger move than that occurs on the day. You're really happy when you can catch a big trade like we did today, right? A 20-point ES move on one lot, and that is a $1,000 trade. Is really good in anyone's book, right? So we have been on an amazing streak this week. In fact, we're up 260 ticks in 3 trading days, and 2 of those days we're using one lots, right? And so that makes for a really handsome week so far here. So again, one of the key things to remember as you're watching this video today is, again, on one lot, because of the increased volatility, it just makes trading sense to be able to reduce and minimize that risk, to be able to accommodate these really wild swings that are going on in the market. So as always, I'm going to let you watch this trade. The trade was about an hour in length, maybe a little longer than that, actually. It looks like it was about an hour and 10 minutes in length. I'm going to cut it into pieces. I'll let you hear the very beginning, show you where we get in. I'll cut the trade down into segments, speed it up, put some music behind it, and then let you see where it is that we exit. So again, without further ado, here is that OTG trade of the day. In 34 quarter stop, 37 quarter target, 22, maybe 10.